Two moms, two marketers, two women new to the financial industry. They have a lot of questions. That's why they're bringing in financial experts to educate all of us here on A Penny or Two for Your Thoughts.
So,
we haven't. I was trying to remember.
A penny or two for your thoughts. Chantel and Liz are here to talk. No.
I kind of forgot what to do. This is this new environment we're in today.
I know. We're like up on a stage, spotlights, wooden table instead of our rickety square.
Bougie.
We are bougie today. I feel like my dream has come true. My journalism freshman year degree idea came true. I am a sportscaster. Not.
You want to talk about sports?
No,
not really.
Sports ball is so fun.
All of it. All the sports balls.
All the sports balls. You've got the basketball, soccer ball, volleyball, baseball, and football.
And a football. Oh my.
Yeah, this is where this podcast is going.
May. It's May.
It's gonna be May.
It's my birthday month.
It is your birthday month. Hi. That's why we're bougie. We're celebrating Chantel's birthday on our podcast, and we gave her a bougie environment.
Hey, I'm going to give a shout out to our good friend Anne. She just celebrated a big birthday.
She's got
a May birthday. So
she had a derby birthday.
Yeah, derby. She's got all the hats.
I know.
I like her so much.
I know. She's super cool.
You know what else is May?
No, I don't know what else is May.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm going to need that because Augie graduates May 22nd, and I'm going to need some mental health awareness.
Listeners, guess what she's graduating from?
Pre-K. It's not even like it's big to me.
It is big
to you. I realize I'm overreacting probably to most consumers out there. Consumers of this podcast.
Mental health is important on all aspects, and taking care of yourself during all things is important.
Everything. Like birthdays.
Hey, listen, I don't want to talk about it. Don't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Right. It's just, we're bougie. We got to talk about something.
I know. I'm just feeling so casual sitting here in this chair. Cam, I really like this. Cam can't talk.
Cam can't talk today. They've taken Cam's mic away.
Yeah.
Oh,
but he is here with us.
He's got so many mics sitting there, and none of them are actually working.
Don't worry.
But he is sitting. He is here with us.
Yeah,
He's good. Smiling, scratching his beard as always.
Ew.
What?
I don't know.
Said beard. You
okay.
Can't be a cool producer unless you got a beard.
That's right. That is the truth.
All right.
Truth. We got a show today.
We do have a show today, and it's gonna hit on that mental health awareness because I think we all need to just do a mental health check on each other. We're in a tough environment.
Yeah.
But there's so much good that we can be focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna dive into a lot today. So we've got an amazing guest on our show who's here to talk all about economics with us. She's a dynamic advocate for economic education, an associate professor of practice in economics at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Go Big Red.
Oh my gosh, we have an alumni.
No? Okay. Yeah, I know.
Total alumni.
I'm totally an alumni. She's also the president of the Nebraska Council on Economic Education. She is an in-demand speaker who works with businesses, churches, volunteer groups, schools, and associations. Wow, that's a hard word. I'm going to need some mental health on this one. Associations to present economic and personal finance concepts in new ways that are accessible to both professional and general audiences. I would love for you all to join me in welcoming Dr. Jennifer Davidson to our show.
Woo, woo.
Woo, woo. Talk about bougie.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever.
Good May.
Good May.
Good May.
Man,
May your May be good.
Yes.
May your May be good.
Let me just level set because I want to make sure that you have your expectations set real low here because Econ was the
Oh.
one class
Same.
in college that I had to take
Same.
pass fail because there was no way I was going to make it through that. So I just applaud you, and I am so in awe of all the things you know.
And I feel like we just need to go.
yes, yeah.
Well,
My
thank you.
econ teacher would be like, "What are you doing right now?"
Yeah. My
I
parents
hear
are.
that all the time. I'm sure
You
you
do?
realize that. I hear that all the time. Econ was terrible. It's the worst class ever, blah, 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 which is part of my mission to change that. And which is why I'm really fun in the classroom, because I want students to want to learn more.
Oh,
So, yeah.
yes.
So
Maybe I
hear
should
that.
go back to school. No,
not for-
I don't know. I can't do it.
Well, thank you for being with us today. We are so excited to talk to you. There's this economy, the world we live in it's kind of crazy chicken right now, yeah? I mean,
Yeah.
just a lot of things, and we know that you wear a lot of hats. I think your signature line is a paragraph. It's so impressive, all the things that you do. So just tell us a little bit how you got into this, your background, and the areas that continue to drive your interests and passions.
Sure. You bet. Thanks for having me. This is really fun. Yes. So I'm an economics professor at UNL. The council is really a big, huge of my passion. So we work with K-12 teachers on economics and personal finance, because if your first introduction is not good, you are definitely not going to want to learn more. Like, that's where people get a really bad taste for economics. And these two, economics and personal finance, are so, so important. They affect every part of your life, right? Personal finance, you guys talk about in this podcast all the time. What part of your life is not affected? You really have to have a good understanding to be successful. So, one of my favorite things, I'm just going to do quick. We do an in-school savings program with little kids, and the whole goal is just to change the trajectory of their financial futures. If we can just get people early working on these things with good habits, we really have changed the future for our city, our state, our country. So that's really what keeps me going. I don't know, passionate. Let's make a difference together.
Oh, preach.
I love it.
Man, that was so good.
I love it.
So good. And we're out. I mean, we're done.
And thank you, listeners. We'll make a difference.
Make a better world.
Make it a better world. All right, Jennifer, what is one word that you would use to explain our current economic environment that we are in?
Yeah,
and I know that might be a tough question.
It's a really good question. And I come in all giddy, happy to be here. And then I'm like, ugh, that's hard.
Ew.
So it really is a harder question. And I've really thought about this. It took me a little bit of a journey to come up with one word. So I started with uncertainty, which markets really dislike. But maybe that's not the best word, in that we know things are starting to go south and contract. So for a colleague of mine at the University of Michigan, Dr. Justin Wolfers, who's amazing, in an interview last week predicted a 75% chance of a recession. And I agree. So where things are not headed in a great direction. So it's not really uncertain per se, right? Things are not necessarily going well. So then I thought, I don't know, maybe volatile. Yeah, things have been volatile. That's a good word. Certainly the stock market's been all over the place. It's hard for businesses to plan into the future with all the moving tariff targets. So volatile and uncertain, which, as I thought about it, these two things together brought me to a single word that would encompass this economic climate. And I was like, okay, chaos. We're sort of in chaos right now. It's not really good for Mental Health Month. But then as I was thinking about all of this and I was feeling really down and heavy, the word I'm truly settling on here for our economic climate, if you make me pick one, it's going to be depressing. Because, and I'm laughing, it's not funny at all. All of this uncertainty, volatility.
You laugh through this.
Right? I mean, that's maybe
laughter is medicine, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah. So this uncertainty, volatility, chaos, it's really self-inflicted by our own policies. And most economic indicators are trending downward. So it's just depressing. So let's go with that.
Depressing. You know what? From here, we can only go up, right? So here we go.
Right.
That's right. So what are some of the key factors that are driving these current economic trends?
So let me sort of lay the playing field out here. Let's mention what are the current economic trends? What are we seeing? So we've got a slowdown in economic growth, or GDP, for Q1 in 2025, declined 0.3% annualized. It's the first time we've seen this negative GDP growth since 2022. We've got 5 consecutive months of declining consumer confidence. It's not a good sign for the economy. It's a new low since 2020, in fact. We've got inflation still slightly higher than where we want to see it. It's at 2.4. So the Fed's target is 2%, though it's certainly moderated. And that's a really good thing since it's high of 9% since June of 2022. But there's still a lot of fear of future inflation and continued rising in prices. So all not great things, right? But then April, we got this really great jobs report in April that came in higher than expected, with employers adding 177,000 new jobs despite the tariff uncertainty. So that's good news and a sign of a still currently strong economy. So it's hard to say right now, but what's driving all of this is the on again, off again moving target of the tariff levels. Businesses really think longer term when making decisions, and it's quite difficult to do that with so much uncertainty. So in a nutshell, it's all the uncertainty that's driving these economic trends.
I'm just
in the depression field.
I know I'm uncertain. I'm in chaos. I'm feeling volatile. So with that type of environment, and how people are reacting, how should they be thinking about budgeting and saving then?
Right. That's the important question, right? So here we are. What can we control? That's really what should we do about it? So I think the best approach is what Morgan Housel, I don't know if you've read this book, it's called The Psychology of Money, and I really, really like it. What he talks about is this barbell approach. So trying to stay optimistic and plan for the future, right? You still got to do that. But at the same time, you kind of got to be paranoid and planning for the worst case scenario too. So really set yourself up for future and just in case. You got to do both of those at the same time. So it's a really good time to look at your budget. If you don't have one, do one and think about your priorities. So do whatever you can to boost your savings right now, which of course means spending less. That's a trade-off. That's Econ 101 is trade-off and choices. But then it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of continued decreases in GDP, as consumer spending is about 70% of GDP. So as we pull back, GDP growth slows or contracts, but it's what people need to do right now to protect themselves.
So we talk about all the time, right? Like the emergency savings, having that emergency savings should something happen, and you need to have that. You need something to fall back on. So I love this next question. There's the practical side of things, right? So what are some of the things that some of our listeners, families can do to protect their finances and just be prepared for this to look ahead?
Sure. So the big things are what we're talking about. Increase savings to weather the storm and really prioritize your budget. And then let's dig in. These are the things we can control. Another thought that I had, you could open a home equity line of credit. I bet Centris does that, especially if you don't have a large enough emergency fund to get you through 3 to 6 months of expenses or longer. If longer, maybe if you have a family or really high expenses. This is a lever you can pull if there's an extreme emergency, and it can be an anxiety reducer to have just in case. I'm not advocating that you use it, but just to know that it's there just in case could reduce some anxiety. Worst case scenario. It's expensive, right? It can be relatively expensive, but if you have limited options, it might be good. I do also want to say personal finance is personal, and every situation is different with different trade-offs. So be sure to talk to your banker, your financial advisor, or a trusted friend who's good with money. That's also very, very important.
I love that. So talk through some of the things that you do to maybe in your own life as you are thinking about saving and doing some of those practical things.
Sure. So shopping smarter, maybe. We're seeing price rises, right? So what can we do? Meal prep's a big thing. We do it in our family. Eating out's really expensive. We really don't do it very often at all. Birthdays, we eat out at birthdays. I'm a really good cook though too, so there's that. So we eat at home. Buying in bulk, I think is a great money saver. It really can be. Those big box stores can be really worth that annual membership, particularly paper products. I don't know. Do you guys shop there? Costco,
Oh,
Sam's?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like paper towels and toilet paper is the deal of the century. It's like $22 for this
I know.
huge 6-month supply.
Exactly.
So those
Just
kinds of
storing it.
things-
That's the problem I
Yeah.
have. Is
Yes,
like, where do I
storing.
put all this?
That is the thing. Not everything, though. I do want to caution people to be price wise and compare, because not everything is a bargain there. So you do need to be price sensitive and compare. Rotisserie chickens, I love these. They're $5 and they're big. They're these big fat chickens. Huge budget stretcher for my family. So my husband was buying this giant container of chicken salad pre-made at Sam's every week. It was like $9. I'm like, oh, I can make that way, way cheaper. So you get a rotisserie chicken. One breast goes for me to home make this chicken salad that's going to last him for his every single day breakfast sandwich that he makes and takes to work. And the other breast on that is my lunch every single week. Every single day I make a chicken salad. So like, talk about a budget stretcher. I got $5 for 10 meals, 5 for him, 5 for me. That's pretty awesome, right? Let's see. On the food budget, let's talk about that a little bit more. I always feel like the food budget is one of those areas you can expand and contract as you're dealing with finances and planning, right? You really have control. It's not like I'm going to turn all the lights off in my house. That's not really going to make a huge difference, but you really can have some control over your food budget. So if I'm really trying to minimize, and I am right now, I really am, peanut butter and jelly, homemade bread that I make that's super cheap, ramen noodles even, right? Veggies, and some of that rotisserie chicken that we're talking about, though skip that salt bomb.
The sodium packet that basically blows your heart up. Yeah.
Skip that, or just put a little tiny bit of that in there. Pasta and vegetarian a couple nights a week. Like, you can really minimize your grocery budget by doing a lot of these things. Eggplant Parmesan, get your veggies in. That's a good one. Tomato basil salad, I super love. We have fresh basil on the counter. Like, that's super cheap. Tomato, basil, a little olive oil, a little salt, good to go, and healthy. So some other things, thrift stores, so many deals to be had. Might be worth a look before heading to the retail store or your online retailer. Dig in, shop around for some of your bigger monthly, annual, or fixed expensive. I've had several friends actually recently that are mentioning that they're making switches. They found cheaper providers for the same coverage, specifically homeowners and auto insurance. Same coverage is key. I want to make sure that we communicate that, but also evaluate your coverage. Are you overinsured? Can you make some changes to reduce the price? So just always thinking about those kinds of things.
That's great. I like the thought that, your food, the food aspect, you can control. Like, you can go big or you can go smaller. You can really spread things out. I'm a huge meal prepper. That's kind of how we live. I hardly eat out. I think we eat out maybe once every few months. It's far and few between. Are there other specific spending categories where people can find more unexpected savings?
Yeah, I think your entertainment budget is probably one. There's so many subscriptions that we forget about these days, right?
Yeah.
It sort of flies into the wire. So Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, YouTube, Spotify, there's so many. So really evaluating those, if you use them, and if you really, I'm doing air quotes, need them, what can you cut? Right. Reading, I think, is a great entertainment activity to add. And we have free local public libraries where you could get books. So hours and hours of free entertainment with books. And they have online apps too. Did you know that? Libby and Hoopla, they're attached to the library, and you can check out a book for either audio or reading on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope my kids, they won't be listening. I hope they're listening, because it's a thing, a library.
Mm-hmm.
They have things called books that you open.
Right.
And look at words.
Yeah. It's not just a screen
things
where mouths are moving.
Yep. And I think it's really important for education too.
Yes.
Huge.
It's crazy, right? It's a crazy talk that we have today.
It's a crazy podcast.
Oh, it is.
Our listeners are going to be mind blown.
Yes, for sure. Talk about it.
Great. I didn't even plan it.
So good. Mindset shifts. What can you do? What can you do to really kind of change the way you're thinking feel more control in these times.
Yeah. And really, we're having fun, but it really is uncertain out there, and it feels really heavy. So I think that's a really important question. So let's not forget that when the market is down, it's a great time to invest. It's not a good time to divest. Typically, you want to buy low, sell high, right? We hear that all the time. But remember, the stock market is a long-term investment. It will go up and down. That's the nature of it. So the key is to hold and just write it out. And I just want to give some historical odds of making money in the US markets. 50-50 over 1 day periods. That's not what you're doing with the stock market. You really got to think long term. 68% odd of over a 1 year period, 88% odds of making money over a 10-year period, and 100% odds of making money over a 20-year period. So just remembering it's long term. Don't panic.
Right.
Over the last 200 years, the US economy has trended downward with big increases of the standard of living. So over the last 200 years, we've had many tumultuous events, right? It's not just right now. This happens all the time and is not irregular per se. Wars, presidential assassinations, pandemics, recessions, high inflations, and so on. We can be sure that there's always going to be some uncertainty thrown our way. So it's not necessarily unusual in the scope of history.
I think that's so important. You point that out because there's just so much more noise than there was 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, like you hear more. You
see more, you hear more.
Yeah. This fear monger piece of it, right? That people are trying to scare you. Different journalistic pieces are trying to vie against each other to get you the information that you think you need to hear. So it is just take a hot minute sometimes and know that we've done this before.
Right.
We've
Trust the process. We've gotten through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all that noise, how do you recommend people avoiding that panic? So when they see those headlines, they hear the news, they hear things on social media, they're reading articles. I mean, that can be overwhelming. How do they, what are your recommendations on avoiding that panic?
Yeah, that's real. That's so real. Avoiding panic may be acknowledging that feeling of overwhelm that you're having and unplugging. Just unplug from the 24-hour news cycle. So my husband and I are really both working on that right now because it's depressing right now. It's been a lot and we just need to acknowledge that and reflect and reset. So of course, start to work on preparing yourself like we've been talking about. You're increasing savings as much as you can, really examining your budget and thinking about your priorities. All of this is part of a healthy financial plan every day, but more important right now.
Do you see any opportunities coming out of this economic shift that we're in that we should be paying attention to?
One thing to consider is your own buying plans. So any big ticket items in the near term, automobiles, for example, we got some uncertainty on what's going to happen to the automobile market. So you might consider sooner rather than later to avoid the additional cost of tariffs if you're truly in the market. We were truly in the market. We're like, okay, this summer, in fact, we were going to buy a new car to replace our current one. And, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. There's so much uncertainty and I don't know about the timing of the market. And I don't know if I want to get into a contract and have a car payment again. We haven't had one in a long time. I'm like, let's just wait. So we decided to wait. So it's really just trying to evaluate those things. But if you're really in the market sooner, like now versus 2 months from now,
right?
Depending on what's happening. I also really think there's an opportunity for people to weigh priorities for their families right now. What's really important? From my perspective, it's family time and not necessarily stuff. And all of these tariffs, we're talking about stuff. So that said, on the opposite end of that, I'm going to suggest doing some holiday shopping now rather than waiting until the holidays because the tariffs are resulting in some big disruptions in supply chains. So think about maybe getting some stuff now just in case there's not going to be available later, depending on what happens, but also pare it down and prioritizing memories with families. So play games, be silly, laugh together rather than making it about the gifts.
Right.
We were
Those memories, experiences.
We were talking about this, like go back to the COVID days when you were at home and you had to reconnect. We
Mhm.
said that at the time, like we had to be home, but you look back, we were given the opportunity to reconnect, right? And I think in this crazy time, we just kind of forget that we're going so fast, doing all the things. So I think that's such a great reminder that it's all right there in front of you.
I remember feeling that way during COVID too. I was like, I mean, of course it was such a shock and weird, but I was also like, man, this is a forced reset that I really needed from being on just 50 miles an hour plus all the time. And now I feel like I'm kind of back to that. So thanks for the reminder. I got to evaluate that.
Yeah. I know. I was just thinking that as we were talking about that, I was like, I think that was a great way for all of us just to slow down. I think we got to find a way to get back to that. I feel like we're all just in that rush again. And that's, we are causing that our own panic and our own overwhelming.
Yes.
What indicators, as the economy starts to stabilize, what should they be watching for to understand that that's what's happening?
Yeah. So that's a good question. And this is your Econ 101. So, you could take it. Everyone can take an Econ course.
Listen, if you are taking Econ right now, this is what you need to listen to. Tune in.
Yes. But the main indicators are what we mentioned at the beginning, and those are the ones to pay attention to. GDP, gross domestic product, what's happening in terms of production, which is what that is. Consumer confidence, how are consumers feeling about the economy? This is really kind of a leading indicator before we see anything bad. If people are starting to feel bad or good, that's an indicator of what's to come in the coming months for the economy. Inflation, and then the jobs report and unemployment. So those are really the key indicators to be looking for.
As they learn all about those things and understand all of the Econ 101 things that they need to know about, as you can tell, I can't even say half the words from that time in my life. What's the best way for our listeners to stay informed on the economic conditions that, away from that negative stand, I guess?
Yes. And that's really what we want. I think I would just be very cognizant of the media you consume. So there's this 24-hour news cycle, but what are you consuming is really, really important. There's so much bias on both sides, and it's so much to sift through. So I'm going to recommend there's a media bias chart that people can check out. It's interactive. The free version is a little bit cumbersome, but you can hover and find whatever news source and find out how accurate it is and how much bias to the left or to the right it is. So that's a good thing to just know in your own consumption. Is this accurate or not? And then some news outlets noted for accuracy and unbiased reporting. And this is from the media bias chart: USA Facts, Pew Research Center, Reuters, Associated Press, or BBC are really highly rated in terms of that. I also want to mention a great little podcast called Econ is Life that was created for exactly this, to explain the essentials of economics in everyday language, hosted by me and my awesome counterpart in Georgia. So check that out. And that all of those indicators, it gives you how is this calculated? Where does it come from? That's what the first season is all about.
Fantastic. I love it.
Econ 101 in a podcast. Where was that? I may have actually passed my class.
Out.
And they're short. They're fun. Yeah.
I love it.
Perfect.
Well, we know economic shifts aren't always a negative, and I know that we've kind of been heading that direction, but what are some positive impacts that we could see coming out of the current economic environment we're in?
Sure. Yeah, economic change, it's not always bad. It really isn't. So economic shifts change incentives, and people and businesses typically respond to incentives in predictable ways. That's what we talk about in economics. The problem, though, right now is the change has not been predictable, but we could see some increased innovation and adaptation as we respond to these shifting tariffs. We could see some manufacturing brought back to the U.S., known as reshoring, as a way to deal with supply chain disruptions and tariffs. This is going to take time, though, several years, I'm talking. And then, of course, there's the issue of the necessary worker base to support this new manufacturing. That's a whole other topic. But it's really hard to know right now with all the uncertainty, volatility, chaos. But we'll have to wait and see.
Right.
There's positives.
There is positives.
At the end of
There's always a rainbow after the storm.
Absolutely. So we like to end our podcast with a penny or two for your thoughts. So what are the most important things that you'd like to leave our listeners with from today?
I think that it's a really good time to just evaluate your priorities. Reevaluate your budget, right? A budget is really a value proposition of what's important to you. There's no right or wrong or what's on it. It's just a statement of what you value, and you get to decide what those are. So just reevaluating your priorities, your budget, shore up savings as much as possible, and think about that barbell. We're going to stay optimistic and invest if you can, but also prepare for the worst. We've weathered economic uncertainty before, and we're going to do it again.
Absolutely. That's such
So
great
good.
information. Yep. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here.
This has been amazing. Jennifer, thanks for being here with us, taking the time to chat and providing our listeners some amazing thoughts about our current economy and what we have to look forward to and things that we can grasp onto in the meantime while we're in this crazy world.
Yes.
This crazy
chaotic
thing called life.
Yes.
And listeners, thanks for taking the time to tune into this episode. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, and give Centris a follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn if you want some more great information. And if you want to connect with one of our amazing experts to help you with your finances and help you achieve your financial goals during this time, give us a call at 402-334-7000. You can also check us out on our website at centrisfcu.org. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks, everyone.